Last January, what was left of her rotting 100-pound body was found embedded, melted into a couch in her parents' Louisiana home.
He's seen a lot of neglect before. He said he's never seen a case like this.
What 36-year-old Lacey Fletcher went through is nothing short of a nightmare. Lacey never stood a chance at a normal life, not because of her condition, but because of her evil parents. You guys, by the end of this video, I'm pretty sure you'll conclude that not everyone needs to have children. Certainly not these two people. Sheila and Clay Fletcher didn't raise a child. They kept a prisoner and mocked her for needing love and attention. Lacey's story is one of the most tragic cases we've ever covered here. Let's explore all the details behind her terrible life and death. In a pretty ironic way, this story takes us to the small town of Slaughter, Louisiana. But despite its terrible name, this 1,000 people town is as peaceful as can be. These are the streets Lacey Fletcher grew up on, and this is the house she grew up in with her parents, Sheila and Clay. They were very well-respected people in their community, and many people looked up to them. Clay was a member of the Baton Rouge Civil War Roundtable and the Planning and Zoning Committee in the town. His wife Sheila was a town alderman and assistant to the city prosecutor. They went to church every weekend and were kind to all who knew them.
They go to church, you know, every weekend and do anything for anybody. You know?
Don't you find it extremely scary that some of the worst people on earth are hidden in plain sight? On January 3rd, 2022, at around 2 a.m., Sheila phoned the emergency services. Her 36-year-old daughter had stopped breathing. She didn't give them a lot of details. It almost sounded as if she blamed her daughter for passing away. But when the paramedics arrived at Lacey's home, they discovered a scene that would scar them for life. Immediately, they phoned law enforcement, news stations, and the town's coroner, Dr. Ewell Bickham. Ewell would later say, "I opened the door, walked into the house. There was a stench, an odor, fecal matter, urine. You couldn't hold your breath." But that's just to put it lightly. Ewell had been the coroner for 3 decades. Needless to say, he'd seen his fair share of disturbing sights and smelled a lot of uncanny things.
Dr. Ewell Bickham could not release specifics with a pending grand jury hearing, but told me in his 30 years as a practicing physician, he could not eat for a week and cried for a week.
Everyone who set foot in that house on January 3rd was marked for life. The sheriff was quoted saying, "I've been a sheriff for 6 years and I've had a lot of things happen here in East Valencia Parish, but this type of scene is by far the worst." Lacey hadn't just stopped breathing that day. She had stopped living in the way that we all know many years ago. When the paramedics found her, she was practically fused with the living room couch. Her skin had melted into the couch long before she had passed away. Dr. Ewell concluded that the only way this could have happened is if she hadn't moved from the couch for around 12 years. The autopsy report said Lacey's cause of death was acute medical neglect, dating back to at least 2010. The couch was filled with waste. Lacey's skin from her waist down was red. Lacey had been sleeping in a makeshift toilet for over a decade. The rest of the autopsy details are too gruesome to mention here.